Hey Marine Science students, this video is for the purpose of just quickly walking you through some of the practice work that we did for the scientific method and for identifying the difference between fact, law, hypothesis, theory, and belief. You do not have to turn either of those assignments in. They are simply practice, but I just want to offer you some answers for you to check your work with. We'll start with Krusty's experiment. There were 4 different experiments on the sheet, I believe. I'm just going to run through one of them real quick. Krusty was told that a certain itching powder was the new best powder on the market. It even claims to cause 50% longer lasting itches. Interested in this product, he buys the itching powder and compares it to his usual product. One test subject, A, is sprinkled with the original itching powder, and another test subject, B, was sprinkled with the experimental itching powder. Subject A reported having itches for 30 minutes. Subject B reported having itches for 45 minutes. So his control group, we're going to identify a number of different things here. His control group was the group that received the original itching powder. That's his standard of measurement. The experimental group is the group that's receiving the new itch powder. His independent variable, the thing that he's changing, is the type of powder. The controls, some of the things that Krusty is going to want to leave the same, the amount of powder being used, probably the location on the body. He may even want to think about things like temperature in the room or even the type of clothing that the person is wearing. Those things could all have an impact. The dependent variable, the thing that he is measuring and collecting data on, is the length of itchiness. And what should Krusty's conclusion be? Based on this small sample size, the new powder did indeed last for 50% longer. So it was exactly as advertised, but keep in mind this is a very, very small sample size, just one person for each powder. Really not an appropriate way to conduct a scientific experiment. The way that he set the experiment up was fine otherwise, but the sample size is certainly very too small to draw any real conclusions. All right, now we're going to go to the other sheet. There are 35 of them on here. I'm not going to go through all 35. I'm just going to walk you through 10 of them and kind of try to make sure we have a feel for this. Number 1, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. This is a law. Number 2, force equals mass times acceleration. This was in our notes, so hopefully you knew that this was also a law. Number 3, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Just a fact. That's all there is to it. Same thing for number 4, the Earth is a sphere. Keep in mind as we work through this, the sheet itself was produced by NASA. For some of these, I don't love the answers that they gave. I think you actually have access to all of the answers for this sheet. I think there's a page 2 on that document, and it does have all the answers there. If you go through and look at some of them and you disagree with what some of them are, I do too. Some of these there may be 2 or 3 different possibilities that we could have gone with. So just keep that in mind. Number 6, humans were created separately from all other life on Earth. That's going to be a belief. Jumping down to number 11, Earth's magnetic field is generated by a conducting fluid in its core. We're going to go with theory on that one. You may not be familiar with that theory, so you might have been tempted to go with something else there. But theory is the right answer there. Jumping all the way down to 22, black holes exist. Now, there's not any way around that. That's a fact, an observable fact. Number 23, the sun will rise tomorrow morning. We're going to call this one a hypothesis. This is something that can be tested using an observation of previous days where the sun has risen to make the hypothesis that that's going to happen again tomorrow. And so maybe some other ways that we could categorize this as well, but we're going to go with hypothesis. Number 31, some numbers are more lucky than others. Hopefully you caught the idea that is simply a belief. There may be some interesting ways to try to test that out, but trying to test luck is kind of a challenging thing to do. And last but not least, 32, more babies are born and crimes take place during the full moon. This is something that is measurable, though it could be tempting to categorize it in some other ways too. But we're going to go with hypothesis for this one. This is something that we could formulate an experiment based off of to try to measure it and see if this statement is accurate or not. We'll leave it at that. If you can check the others on the answer sheet if you want to. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But again, both of those sheets were just practice to try to get you ready for the test on Thursday. You will have to be able to identify elements of an experiment, and you will have to be able to differentiate between law, hypothesis, theory, and belief. So hopefully you got that practice done. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.